Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. SaseGunraj. SaseGunraj is an attorney at law and a commissioner on the Guyana Elections Commission nominated by the opposition People's Progressive Party. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Gunraj.
Thank you, Kurt, and good day to all your viewers.
Okay. Mr. Gunraj, I want to jump right into things. There was a meeting scheduled at the Guyana Elections Commission today where the commission was supposed to meet, which includes the chairman and 6 commissioners. That meeting has since been postponed. Can you tell us what are the reasons for the postponement and if any new timelines for that meeting has been set?
All right, so Kurt, I received an email earlier this morning which indicated to me that the meeting has been postponed to tomorrow, that no time has been set for that. In fact, it says that a time to be determined. And more importantly, the reason given for that postponement is the fact that my colleague commissioners from the other side require some time, and I quote, to study the decision of the Caribbean Court of Justice delivered yesterday.
As you rightfully said, those commissioners are they were nominated by the government, by the incumbent, I should say, APNU+AFC. Do you consider this request a delay tactic now that the CCJ has ruled?
Well, Scott, there's a short answer to that and there's a long answer. I'll give you the short answer, but I'll digress. The short answer is yes. Reason being, the ruling of the decision of the Caribbean Court of Justice, as was delivered by the president of the court, Justice Adrian Saunders, I think it took about 45 minutes yesterday, if that long. I sat, I believe, with the rest of this country who looked at it online, and everyone soaked in that judgment. Everyone listened to it. And as I said on my Facebook page this morning, it required no gloss. It did not require any technical analysis to understand what the court was saying. And mind you, Justice Saunders made it a point to say after he delivered the ruling that it was a unanimous decision of all the members, all 5 members of the bench who sat and heard the case. But that was not all. After the delivery of it was widely publicized, both on the CCJ website, it was circulated on social media, both a 60-page judgment, which I happen to have in my hand as well, and a summary of 10 pages. But if those were too voluminous to digest by any interested party, the CCJ went to pains as to issue a press release which further summarized what the position of the court was, what the decision of the court was. So, like I said, it requires no gloss, it requires no in-depth analysis, and any in-depth analysis could only reveal those very positions as are adumbrated by the judge in the delivery of the judgment.
Mr. Gunraj, thank you. What do you understand should have happened or will happen at the meeting of the commission tomorrow?
So the judgment of the court, like I said, it's very clear. It referred to Article 1772B, and it said that it was very clear. In fact, I was trying to skim through very quickly before starting to talk to you the judgment to get the exact words of Justice Saunders in his delivery. I think he said, it says what it meant and it meant what it says, or something like that. Something that sounds very cliched, but it hammers home the point of the simplicity of that article. And you'd also recall in the judgment that the court had some very terse words for the actions of the chief elections officer. Described the actions taken by him in removing those votes from the final tally as being arbitrary and all of that. Now, that being said, and in the final analysis, the CCJ discarded that report dated 23rd June by the CEO. Now, that being said, the court also, and I mean, I apologize for relying so heavily on the ruling of the court, but it is what is the governing interpretation as we speak. The court also recognized that the chairman of the commission, Justice Claudette Singh, in keeping with the majority decision of the commission, sent a letter to the CEO dated, I believe, the 16th of June, which required him to present a report in keeping pursuant to Section 96 of the Representation of the People's Act, using the recount figures. And the court has been very clear in stating that that position still stands. So what else? I expect the CEO to act in compliance, in ready compliance perhaps, as he acted or purported to act subsequent to the Court of Appeal decision, and provide a report in keeping with the diktats of the letter of the chairman dated the 16th of June, using the recount figures, and let's have this process done.
Thank you very much. The CCJ handed down its ruling yesterday, sometime around 3 p.m. It's a new day. Do you think there is anything the chair could have or should have done up to this point to move the process forward, especially considering that we've been waiting for over 4 months? Is there anything that could have been done by the chair of the commission between yesterday and now to move the process forward?
Well, if the greatest deference to the chair, I believe that she has done what she ought to do. She summoned the meeting. She summoned the meeting of the commission. It is quite unfortunate, the position taken by my colleagues in relation to requiring time to study what is a very pellucid judgment. So respectfully, I believe the chair has done what she needed to do.
Thank you very much. There's also a lot of talk about what the Chief Elections Officer, Mr. Keith Lowenfield, can and can't do at this time. There's some persons who are saying that he will not budge on his last report, and there are other persons who have said he must comply with the CCJ ruling and put forward his report based on the recount figures. As an attorney yourself and someone who sits at the commission, what do you expect from him now? And as a legally, can you say what he can and can't do at this point?
I would prefer to be very parsimonious with my thoughts in this regard, Kurt. But importantly, we have recognized, and in the CEO's own words, I believe a video that was posted on your on Newsroom's Facebook page and on its other platforms. The CEO is a creature of the commission. He is subject to the directions of the commission. The commission has already directed him in the form of the letter that I referred to a moment ago, dated, I believe, and I hope I'm quoting the date correctly, the 16th of June, from the chairman to the CEO in keeping with a decision of the commission. He is an employee of the commission. Suffice it to say that there are consequences for failure to carry out the instructions, lawful instructions of your employer. And that's as much as I'd say on that issue.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gunraj, as we wrap up, do you have any parting comments?
Kurt, the CCJ recognized the extreme patience that all of us who are either directly or tangentially involved in this process have been exercising over over in excess of 4 months. I don't believe it is by accident that the opening statement of Justice Sanders yesterday in the delivery of his judgment was that the time taken thus far to release the results and to have a president and members of the National Assembly in place pursuant to the elections concluded on March 2nd. I have always been asking for the patience and common sense to prevail. I reiterate that call even now. But while I'm doing so, I'm recognizing that people's patience is growing thin, right? The collective patience of this country is probably at its lowest ebb. Now, that being said, I would like good sense to prevail. The facts in this matter speak for themselves. And I would like good sense to prevail so that this matter can be concluded in a timely and efficient way so that this country could get on with its lives. COVID is real and it is threatening to engulf all of us. And yet we are focused, our focus is elsewhere.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gunraj.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell.